Good morning, TikTok Live, TikTok Worldwide, and everybody a part of that. As you guys can tell, today we have a great special guest. We have Nellie Neal with us. Good
Hello.
morning, Nellie.
Good morning.
You
So
look,
here.
what's that?
I'm so excited to be on live.
Yay! I know, well, I'm kind of one of those starstruck fans as well, that for years I've seen you at different shows and you always have a huge entourage all the way around you. But last year at one of the shows, finally was we, able to kind of connect and meet. And it was just so nice to meet you. You were so personable and so kind, a lot more than, what I had expected. And I just fell in love with you from the get-go. So anyway, I couldn't wait for you to be a special guest.
Sometimes the image can scare people off a little bit when the hair is all big and up.
They can deal with it. Hey, trust me, us girls can get our hair big as well.
All right.
Oh, we already have so many good mornings for you and people signing on. So thanks for joining in. And as you guys well know, we have Nellie here for about an hour. So if you guys have any questions at all, besides obviously what we're interviewing, then, this is your time. Yeah, Sheila says, "Hi, Nellie, my favorite guy in the industry."
Hi, Sheila. All right, I'm trying to find the video on TikTok so I can actually watch the live so I can see the comments. Just have
Yay.
them come in. Not seeing it though. Let's see.
It'll show up there.
Mhm. Well, we'll find it eventually.
I was gonna say, can you find me at what you might need to do is refresh the page and it
Okay.
will usually be right at the top because it's the most active part of the
There
group
you
right now.
go.
There you go.
There we go.
Perfect. Now he can see what you guys are saying. So let's light him up with some love and let him know, if you've met Nellie before, maybe share a story because I'm sure there's quite a story every time that we meet you.
Well, I think the first time we actually got a chance to talk together was at the Utah show last year.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was kind of a funny little show, but it was a fun one.
Yeah. Are you going to go again this year?
I don't think we're doing that one this year. No. We're focusing a little bit more on some of the bigger ones,
Hmm.
which
Yeah.
I'm excited for the shows this year. There's definitely some new places that I'm going that I've never been before, so I'm really excited about that. And a couple of those are I'm actually going to the nail camp in Seattle, which
Oh, okay.
I never thought I would do because, like, I am not one to stay in a camp. And I'm like, I'm kind of a Four Seasons guy. So Ellen has convinced me to come there by giving up her fabulous cabin. So I'm going to be there this year. So that's kind of a new one to me.
Oh, I love it. I
Yeah.
love that we get to try things new like that. Like our opportunities are endless.
Right?
It's kind of fun. I'm doing the nail camp for my first time this year too. And what I like is that we get to spend all day with with the techs, with other educators and all that, and all the meals and all that. However, where we're staying is really not at all camping. They definitely called it glamping. We have private chefs and all of that.
They're cabins, but like they're not cabins with like thousand thread count sheets, right?
Yeah, so true. So Nellie, let's go way back. How did you get started in the nail industry?
Well, I've been in salons basically my entire life since I can remember starting working, and I fell in love with watching the hairdressers at the salons I worked at do hair.
Hmm.
And I thought, I'm like, oh my gosh, I would be so good at that, and that looks so fun. And basically, all I wanted to do was flat iron people's hair all day, every day. Okay. Never wanted to cut it or color it. I just wanted to flat iron it. And for some reason, I thought I could make a career of that. So I went to beauty school and I found myself, while in beauty school, just absolutely hating everything about hair. And it just, anytime I had a hair client on my books, I was like, I can't do it. And I'd run around, I'd be searching for somebody to trade with me. I'm like, I see a pedicure on your books. Please trade this perm for that pedicure. I want to do that instead. You know, these Cosmo students, they were all about that. They were like, oh my God, yeah, I hate nails. Here, take it, you know? So I did that for basically my entire schooling that I was there. And eventually they came to me and they were like, listen, they're like, you finished your nail quotas a really long time ago. You have to do some hair. And I was like, wait, no, I can't, you know? And this teacher, she tells me, I'm 8 hours over halfway in the program. And in Minnesota, it's 1,550 hours. So I was quite a ways in. She tells me, she goes, I need you to go and wrap 2 perms right now. And I looked at her and I was like, I quit. I'm like, I can't do it. I have to go. So I quit school. I went and sat at my cabin for a month. And then when I came back, I started nail school. And I have loved it ever since. It's really been a gradual change in the industry to get to where I am now.
Mhm.
But like starting out, I did kind of like doing everything. I touched a little bit with acrylics and gels, and I can't say that I was necessarily that great at them, but as time went on, I really found my passion for just pedicures. And that's kind of where I am now. It's just really focused in on just what I love doing. And that's the great thing with this business is when you're good at one thing, you can specialize in it.
Yes,
Love that.
absolutely. Yes, yes. And the pedicures are wonderful. I love, you can tell though that not only with your personality and your kindness, but a pedicure is very pampering and that you must like that feeling of giving somebody that ultimate pampering because our feet, oh my goodness. And then obviously getting them cleaned up and, bedazzling them.
Well, it really, there's so much that goes into it. I like to treat it, you've probably heard me say this before, I like to treat a pedicure as a total body experience. So
Mhm.
if I can hit all 5 of your senses during a pedicure service, I'm doing my job right. And that really starts with everything that you're doing. You want them to feel comfortable and safe with your cleanliness factor. You want them to kind of see you walk out with a beautiful tray of products and get excited about what might be on there and what they're going to get to use today. And I have a lot of fun with the presentation and using a lot of just really over the top techniques to excite them during the service and really make them relax and be like, wow, this really is something that I've never experienced before.
Mhm.
That's
You know,
always.
we talk a lot about that of any part of the industry, whether it's hair, it's how you present it and your excitement with it, that those clients, they'll pay more because they want that uniqueness and they want that personalized feeling that you did that just for them.
Yes, and that's what it's all about. I try to, when people come in, I make sure that things stay consistent. Like, you always, if you're going to give them a great massage one time, you need to give them a great massage every single time they come in. So I do stick to very similar techniques, but whenever they come in, I always have new products. So I'm always like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to show you this. This just came out, and they get it as excited about it as I do.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of fun with that. And it's just like seeing them be like, oh my gosh, what are we doing today? And it's like they know that it's going to be good no matter what I use. So they completely trust me. They never question what it is that we're using on them. So I just get to have fun.
Yeah. So, typically people probably get pedicures every 4 to 6 weeks. Do you ever have the ones that are like, I think I want to come back next week?
I mean, there's a couple that come back a little more often than probably needed. I would say a majority of my clients come in about every 4 to 6 weeks, though. I try to, I mean, the pedicures last so long, and some of them do just kind of like they want just that pampering moment. So they're like, "Oh, can I just come in for a leg massage?" And it's like, I don't really do that, but I do have certain little things that they could come in for, like little anti-age treatments, which have a lot of massage to them.
Yeah.
I just realized my music is playing. Hold on. Alexa, music off. We don't want that in the background.
Just like that. Don't we wish everything in life was, well, I don't know. There's some things that are automated that I'm just like, oh no, we shouldn't have to be that automated. But man, the luxuries of all the automation.
Everything in my life is basically automated. So this is actually something really fun that I did for my guests in my salon. Going back to that experience factor. So you probably heard me say earlier before we started, like I had her dim the lights.
Yeah.
And so when I get to the massage portion of my pedicure, every single light in my salon and music and the atmosphere is completely controlled by that device. I can't say her name because she'll respond. But so I just like it's amazing. So I live and work here. So when I wake up in the morning, I tell her good morning, and it turns all my lights in my apartment off or on at 50%.
Okay.
Turn the music on lightly, and then as I get ready and I walk through the door into my salon, I say, start my day. And all of the lights come on as bright as they can get so I can do all my cleaning, which is super fun. But then throughout the day, I have certain keywords that I'll say that set it to different moods during the day. So in different techniques, different pedicures, I can tell her exactly what mood I want to set in the salon as far as music and lighting. So yeah, when we get to the massage and the pedicure, I say one term, and she switches the music and the lights.
Love it.
Fun,
Yeah, and it's those little things like that that personalize it that makes the client feel even more pampered and even more special.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's those little different things, and it's setting yourself apart. Like I mean, we all hear, they're like, oh, but my competition down the road's charging this much. It's like, all right, but you know, your competition isn't doing this.
Hmm.
Those clients sitting in the chair, they're like, wow, that was amazing. Like that whole pedicure was perfectly tailored to me. They don't realize that you do that for every single person. They feel like they were so special because you
Yes,
figure ways
exactly.
to like switch up the music for them and
Hmm. I always like it that they don't want to tell the other people. They're afraid, or when they do say something, they're like, well, I got a pedicure done from Nellie, and he did this like extra special thing with me. But I'm not going to tell you what it is because it was something just for me. But it might be something that you do along the lines for everybody. But
right.
it's how you presented it that made them feel that extra special. I know we do the same thing. Absolutely. So I see a lot of people saying in here that they've tried to like take sneaky pictures of you or you like to photo bomb their pictures.
I love
And
pictures.
so fun.
That's my favorite thing. My goal when I'm at a beauty show is to get in as many pictures as possible with whatever means I have to go about to get in them. And, honestly, usually I don't even have to try because I look so ridiculous. People just want to take a picture of me, anyways. Uh, but I do find it funny because people do sometimes get super nervous to approach me and they do take these sneaky pictures and then I'm sitting there with an ugly face. It's like, give me a chance to pose for it so I look cute in the picture. Like
I've had a few people send me pictures going, I promise I won't post this on social media, but it made me laugh. And it is seriously like one of those pictures that you're like, why did you even save that? Like you should have immediately deleted it. I don't even know how it kept from breaking your camera in the first place.
even walking around here where I live, it just happened to me the other day. Like I was in line at a restaurant that's owned by a local celebrity. And these people, I was really done up that day because I was doing some shopping. And a lady behind me, I could see her in the glass in front of me, her reflection, was trying to take a picture of me my whole way through the line. And before I turned around, because I could see her, I put my sunglasses on and walked out sideways. And this lady was just holding her phone up trying to get a picture. I'm like, who do you think I am? Like,
You know what, though? There is a part of you, and it's just your presence, and it's just how well you put yourself together. You take pride in that, and that's wonderful that you really do draw attention, but it's not in a negative way at all. It's just that great aura that you have about yourself.
well, thank you.
Yeah, never change that.
Oh,
Justine's actually asking where Frank is, and I got to meet Frank.
come here, Frank. Come here. He's looking at me. Come here. Hey, come here. There's Frank.
Oh, oh, look at him. So does he get to hang out in the salon too?
Yes, he does. He sleeps most of the day these days, but he is my little salon buddy. A lot of the clients actually really like to have him in their lap.
Hmm. Yeah. I wish we can do that. In Wyoming, we have the laws. I can't even have a fish.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well,
no animals at all.
you get a little service dog and you can have him at just about anywhere.
I know I should, huh? I probably could qualify.
He's a little wiggly this morning, though.
Oh, well, Frank is beautiful. It's cool that you can be able to have something of, an extension of you that the clients enjoy like that.
There, he's gonna
Kind of
curl.
find its place. So you got into the industry, did you first started working into a salon? Did you booth rent? Did you commission? How did you get into that part of it?
So when I first got out of school, I was kind of sought out in school before I graduated, and I was pulled right from there into a 6 month training program.
Mhm.
And this nail tech, I mean, she was very well known in the industry. I think she's kind of stepped out now, but all she let me do for 6 months were callus and massage, basically.
Okay.
So we'd be doing two pedicures back to back or side by side, and I'd do callus on massage on one, then I'd go over to the other. And when I was doing that, she was doing all the cuticle detailing and the polishing. She said the important stuff, which I thought was hilarious because I'm like, I'm sorry, I think the important stuff is the massage and the callus work. So I got so good at doing callus work and massage because it's all I was allowed to do for 6 months. Every hour I did it on two people.
Wow.
It was one of those things where I'm like, you know what, you thought this wasn't the important stuff, but I'm like, these are the two things that built my business: callus work and massage.
Yeah.
So I mean, it really helped out. I did not have a great experience at the salon, so I actually went from there, from my training program. I never worked there when it was over. There was a really nice salon in our uptown area of Minneapolis that I was dying to work at. And I was so determined. I walked in there, I was wearing my full length fur coat, I had rainbow bangs, and the guy was like, oh no, no, I actually went in there 4 different times begging him for a job. Finally, he hired me. And I mean, if you're persistent enough, you get
I
what.
think at that point in time, they're like, we can mold him.
Right, right. So I worked there for a little bit, and then from there, I actually went to a rental salon. And I've just kind of built it up since then. I went into a salon suite. I was at the rental salon for 5 years, rented my own suite for 3, and I've been here for 2 at my new space.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of a progression.
Yeah. And haven't you found that the clients will follow you no matter how many miles they have to drive?
No matter how many miles and no matter how much I raise my price, yes.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
always think I'm like, when I moved during my move 2 times ago, my price point actually went up $15 to $32 per service,
Yeah.
and which was a huge price increase. I mean, most people are afraid to do a $2-3 price increase, and I'm like, it's $32 more. Sorry.
Yeah. But you also had a lot more in overhead and everything else to justify that you need, and you deserve it.
I didn't have any overhead much at that time, but uh, it was just one of those things where I'm like, I'm so busy. Like, why not do something dramatic and see what kind of clientele I can bring in with this new price point? And I was like, I'm gonna lose half my people. I lost 2 people. I'm like, I raised their price $15 to $32, and I lost 2 people. And they were actually some of the most surprising ones that I lost. So I'm not one to be afraid to raise my price, which makes it so easy for me to do these dramatic business moves because I'm not afraid to fund them using a good price increase.
Yes. But if we don't charge that and get the money that we need, we can't stay with the new products like what you're saying. We aren't able to move up into the industry where we want to be and get the luxury, Alexas and all of that kind of stuff. And so it's important I always say charge what you're worth, but we we're worth so much more than what we ever charge. And so we can't ever charge what we're worth, but
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I've done a pretty good job at marketing and making it seem, I think my services are very reasonably priced for the time that I spend on guests. But, I think a lot of people get nervous starting their pedicures at $95. That's a high price point for a lot of people to take in for, their starting pedicure rate. And I think the way that I've gotten away with that is by putting services on my books that are so much more expensive than that. Like, so my pedicures range from $95 to $2,500. So you put a $2,500 pedicure on your books, and all of a sudden that $95 pedicure looks so cheap and so affordable that they're like, oh my God, that's a great deal. You know?
Yeah, it's so true though that they do that in every marketing aspect of every business. That's exactly what it is. They have what they call the lost leader, but they don't ever want the lowest, so they want the one just above it. So they might pick the one that's like 110 just so that they didn't get that. They want the extra. But I have to ask, what comes with a $2,500 pedicure?
Oh my gosh, it's
And
amazing.
have you ever sold one?
Well, yes. So basically what happens with that one, my dog is biting me.
Oh,
Uh,
she's mad at you.
he's mad at me. He's
Are
like
you?
ignoring me on our Monday. Um, so what happens with this is I'll actually send a car service to come get you. And I have a live harpist playing music. We'll open a really expensive bottle of Cristal champagne and just make it a full experience. We'll have somebody there serving you and while I'm doing the service. So it's just, and generally something like that is done for two people. So it will be like, like a bride and a mother, or a future husband and wife, or just something special. It's not something that somebody's going to do every time they come in for a pedicure. But
Right.
even if nobody ever does it, just having it on your books makes everything else look super cheap.
Yeah. And you never know the idea that you get to do that. I think that sounds great. I love massage. And so I've spent a lot on a very good massage. And you're right. The massage technique might be the same as a lot of the other massages, but the ambiance and all the extras that they did was exactly what set it up over the top. So I understand. And I always tell people, don't be the same as the person down the street. Be unique and be you. And you found that way to make that. So
Yeah.
at some point in time, you decided that you were going to get into education. What put you into the next level?
I mean, I think I wouldn't say that I'm fully into education. I'm a guest artist for LCN, and I do have some upcoming classes coming up, and mostly what that is it's people want to learn what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's hard to figure that out from just a video. Like, I can show you my techniques, but you don't really know how that goes until you can feel it yourself.
Yes.
So I want to kind of create my goal with this. There's so many classes out there to learn, like how to do like diabetic pedicures and geriatric pedicures and all this. And there's like e-file pedicure classes and all this other stuff. But what I don't think we have in the industry is a true spa class showing you spa techniques. I mean, can you think of any?
It's true, unless you go to an Aveda,
Right.
because that seems to be the closest to a true spa or what I would consider a spa pedicure. And they're not at the shows. They're not. Yeah, I think you found a
Like, I'm
mark.
in this 3-day class where it kind of focuses on everything. It kind of focuses on really upgraded massage techniques, different upgraded services, and fancy towel wrapping techniques, different way to do things, just really showing people like how they can amp up their pedicure to a high level with simple things. And you wouldn't think that towel wrapping techniques would be a big thing, but it turns out a lot of people don't really know how to properly wrap a foot with a towel.
Yeah. And then I've seen that where I've gotten the pedicure and I've looked down like, mm-mm.
No, like there's a really cute way to wrap a foot with a towel.
Yeah, and
Uh,
make the person feel pretty. You know,
right.
you mentioned earlier about the five senses, and I believe that with every single appointment that about the five senses. So I liked that you had mentioned that. So give us an example of what you would go through. I mean, obviously the scent of the product.
Yeah. So, well, it's not only the scent of the product. You have to pay attention to the scent throughout your entire salon. So there would be a different scent in a bathroom versus a different scent in a retail area versus a different scent in a pedicure area and a hair area. You
Mhm.
know, so you have to kind of group that between where what you want it to do for them. There's certain smells that might entice somebody to want to buy more things. You're not going to want to put like a scent that's really relaxing to them right by your retail shelf because they're just going to be like, oh, I need to go home and go to bed. Um, where at the pedicure chair, sometimes you do want more relaxing of a scent, but sometimes you don't. So you need to have the option to kind of switch that up too. Essential oils are great in pedicure services. And not only essential oils, but just the scent of your products kind of leads through different parts of a pedicure. So,
Yeah.
like let's say like a lemon scent is going to be a little bit more invigorating and like awakening, where other scents, not everyone loves lavender, but just as a reference, like lavender is going to be a little bit more relaxing and calming. So, kind of on the simple end of scents, but those two are really powerful in a salon.
Yeah. And I'm one of those that I like the scent to change throughout my service. I don't want the same scent for every single part of the soak to the scrub to the rub. And so what you're saying, it changes them throughout their pedicure. It will change their mode. Yeah.
And I made a post about this the other day, and I said, like, on my post, I said, your menu says luxury pedicure, but does everything else actually reflect that? Because I go into salons all over the country, and I go into nice salons, I go into some not so nice salons at times, but, you know, most of the time when I book myself their highest end pedicure, because I always book the highest end one just to see what that entails. Most of the time, for some reason, their idea of a luxury service is a scrub and a mask.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like,
Maybe paraffin. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
and it's like, half the time I book a luxury one and it's like a pedicure in a box and they open these packets. And I'm like, what was luxurious about that? Like, you just tore open a packet in front of me, squeezed it into your hand, and started going. I'm like, there was nothing luxurious about that. So, one of the things that I think people need to focus on a little bit more in their salon is that presentation and really making it feel like a luxury service. Like maybe you are using a pedicure in a box, but do you have to display it to them in the box? Squeeze those products into a dish or dispense your products into a dish before you bring it out to them. They don't need to see that it came in a box. Like there's nothing luxurious about that. And this
And
just happened at a salon near me, and it wasn't an incredibly expensive pedicure. I think it was $80 pedicure or something, and it was a pedicure in a box. I saw them pull the box out of their drawer, and I'm like, oh, how luxurious! Like, I can't wait to see you unwrap that.
yeah, exactly. Well, and the time, if you have it already set up and ready to go, and I always tell people, do not go to like Taco John's and steal their little plastic salsa containers that you get
No,
at school.
no.
Get exactly. Let them feel the luxury of something, even like what you just pulled out. Something that really is like what you get at, exactly that.
This is what I serve my clients when they want espresso.
Yeah. But many times that's what I have found is they're like, oh yeah, I just went to Taco John's or a fast food place and stole their little plastic ketchup containers and that's what I use. And I'm like, what? You,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
no. So and I did do a post, like, I am huge on beautiful accessories and bowls and trays. And, a lot of times I post these pictures of, like, a couple of weeks ago, I posted an amethyst serving tray, and people are like, where did you get that? And it's like, well, this is a $600 tray from Neiman Marcus. So, I know that's not in most text budgets. So I did a challenge, was it last week or the week before, where I actually went to Target and I created a beautiful pedicure tray for $40. Because I'm like, I want
Yeah.
to show everyone that this is doable on a budget. Like, you don't need to have a $600 serving tray to make this look incredible. You can go to Target and find some beautiful little dishes, beautiful serving trays. And I've actually seen a lot of posts lately from Target of people posting little dishes that I've seen there and stuff like that. So I'm like, hey, I think I did something there. I think that worked.
Yes, and that's what it takes. Well, one, being a mentor like what you are and being willing to openly help people genuinely as well. You're not doing it just to say, oh, well, you have to do this. You're like, why don't you try it? You
Yeah.
know, you're just being a good
It,
mentor.
well, it's partially for selfish reasons because I want to be able to go to a salon and have a service like I have, like that I give.
Yeah.
And, if I can get everyone to display something beautifully, I'm going to walk in and I'm going to get that same experience that I give people. I'm going to be like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. Like, what is all that? And that really, like, okay, so let's talk about this. By presenting your products in a beautiful way, where you're not just pumping it out of a container, pulling it out of a packet where they see the brand. Your guests are now asking you. They're like, "What was that you just used on me? That was beautiful. That smelled good. It felt good." Well, let me walk you over here to my retail shelf where I have all these products that I just used on you.
Yeah.
They're more enticed by it because they asked you about it, you explained it to them. They didn't just see the logo on the bottle. You
Hmm.
Actually, they gave you the opportunity to talk to them about it and tell them its benefits. Where if you just pumped it out of a bottle or squeezed it out of a bag, are they going to be like, "Ooh, what's that?" They're like, "No, that bottle looks cheap. I don't want that. Like, that won't look good in my bathroom."
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly that. Speaking of which, Kim asked, what products do you use in your pedicures?
So I primarily use everything LCN. I'm an LCN guest artist, and not to make this a brand thing, but oh man, that line, like, they have so many interesting things. It's one of the few companies in the industry that's constantly advancing with electronics, with products, and they have their own chemists, their own manufacturing facilities, and they really do seem to be ahead of everyone else as far as that stuff goes. So I have fun with it because it's like, yeah, every month basically I'm like, ooh, new products. I'm like, yay. Like, I love a company that's constantly innovating, and I'm in a really good position with them where I often get to try things before it's even released. So I have
Yeah,
a lot of fun with them. I got it
yeah,
right now, little LCN.
exactly. What I love about companies like that is that is is that you're right. Not only are and they'll listen to you. So you being the tech, and if you have suggestions, they're like, well, he knows he's the tech, we're the chemist, and let's work that out. It's funny, on the phone there's always a little bit of a delay. So I just got to see you turn around again.
Okay, yeah, I got the Petty Lab on the back of my shirt. We got to represent my own company too.
That's right. I love it. Anita asked if you could take one class, what would it be?
Oh man. Well, I mean, honestly, I've taken so many classes.
What's your favorite one that you've taken that really made such a significant difference for you?
Oh, that's hard to say. I learn so much. Like, I go to so many classes that I maybe take away like one little piece of information. Like, the most recent class that I went to was down in Arizona a couple weeks, 2 weeks ago or something. And it was the LCN file class with Nancy King. And Nancy King was a great educator.
Yeah.
Or she is a great educator. I learned a lot from her that I wouldn't have really thought about. I don't know how I've got this far using an e-file without a class, but I'm certainly happy I had one now. Uh, so I learned a lot during that, but honestly, I think where I learned the most is by going and having services done myself. So, like when I'm traveling the country doing these shows and going to Four Seasons spas or wherever I end up going, I try to take away one technique from that pedicure that I might have enjoyed or from that manicure. And when I bring it back to my salon for a week, I'll do it on every guest and I'll ask them, like, how did you enjoy that? Did you like that? Did it feel good? Based off their answer, sometimes it gets added in, sometimes it doesn't. Um, but there's so many great educators in this industry. Like, I love Michelle Davignon. She's amazing. I love Gina Silvestro.
Yeah.
She is like my favorite. And I've had and Lauren Wehrman. Oh my God, I love Lauren. So, and the Profile Girls. I just love them all. And I've been fortunate where I have this space here at my salon where I can host classes, and I get to have them up here to host classes and I get to entertain them. CJ Murray is actually, I would say I've learned the most from her. Do you know CJ?
Well, I've not met her, but I know who she is, absolutely.
So I actually have CJ coming up here next weekend, and we're doing a private class for a local salon for 2 days. So that should be really fun. CJ, every time I sit through a class with CJ, I learn something. And I honestly, she might get sick of me at times, but I call her every single day. She's kind of like my go-to for anything foot care related. So she says she's not sick of me, but I don't know if I believe her.
Well, I think she wouldn't answer if she was sick of you.
I actually, okay, so I would say the most, the most indus or like the best class I've taken recently was the oncology class.
Oh,
And there was so much that came from that class. It's from Oncology Spa Solutions. And there's so much that came from that class that I had never thought of before. And with women, it's 1 in 2 women will go through cancer throughout their lifetime, and 1 in 3 men. So this is something super prevalent in our industry, and I think it's something that's not really we're not really trained on anything oncology based. So in the past, I had a lot of hesitation working on anyone dealing with any cancer treatments or anything unless they were like a regular of mine. So I went to this class and I learned so many crazy things from it. One of the things that I learned, I mean, can I share this? Because it was pretty cool.
yes, absolutely.
So I learned that your lymphatic drainage system, just by going like that, you're moving lymph, which, you never really thought that such a light movement would be moving lymph. And your body is divided into 3 zones. So you kind of split right down the middle there, and then it splits you across at the belly button there. And this whole portion of your body kind of works together. This whole portion of your body works together, and then everything below the belly button works together. So if a guest of yours has had, let's say, breast cancer in their left breast, and they've had a lymph node removed, you can no longer ever do a massage on that side of their body again, in that whole section. So the reason behind that is anytime somebody's had a lymph node removed, they have a 30% chance of developing lymphedema, which I had no idea. And lymphedema is that extreme swelling of the limb.
Right.
Well, if they've also had radiation, that risk goes up from there. So, there were so many guests of mine that have had cervical cancer or, like prostate cancer, that type of thing. And, when somebody's going through cancer treatments, my idea was like, oh my gosh, I need to give you the best massage of your life. Like, you really deserve this. Let me give you like a really great treatment. And now I know that that wasn't the appropriate thing to do. So we did learn special massage treatments, special products to use. I didn't even realize that products on an oncology patient are so important. So one of the things that was really, really intense for me from that training was if somebody's currently going through chemotherapy, you can't actually massage the palms of their hands or the soles of their feet.
Really?
because it could bring that to the surface and cause dermal toxicity. So it could cause burning and peeling of that skin. So I'm going to say that was the best class I've ever taken. I took so much from that that I was just, my mind was blown after that class because I'm just like, why didn't anyone tell me this? I've been doing this for so many years. I had no idea that I couldn't massage the palms or the soles of the feet of somebody going through chemotherapy and radiation, and
Yeah.
it was intense.
Likewise, I've worked, like this is one of the things I actually teach in almost all of my workshops is to team up with the local doctor. So if you have a client that's a diabetic, why don't you team up with that doctor, get the education? They want you to be trained properly. But you
Right.
know what? I've teamed up with podiatrists and I've teamed up even with oncologists. We've done mammals, manis, and massage. We've done all these big events. I've never known that.
And
It's
that's
powerful.
a lot of people, even oncologists, don't always tell people this stuff. So that was one of the things that really was hard to me because it's like a doctor when they're getting you through this, their goal is to get rid of your cancer. If you almost, they're going to bring you to the edge of life and then bring you back. So when somebody comes to you and they're like, I'm going through this, my skin is burning, it's peeling, like we really are a lot of times their source for this stuff. It,
Mhm.
not necessarily, but to give them recommendations on what they could ask their doctor if it was good for them. You know,
Right.
so
Yeah. Because we all know that it's not our job to treat them or diagnose them, but the more knowledge we have, we can share the knowledge part of it.
I mean, generally, a doctor, when they're recommending a lotion, is recommending CeraVe, Lubriderm, something along those lines. Well, I learned that those have hormone disruptors in them. And something like some breast cancers are hormone fed. So you would never want to like disrupt those hormones.
Mhm.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, these doctors don't actually know what they're giving these people. They were just told this is a good product to use. And you never want to go against a doctor's recommendation. So what I do with those people is I'm like, what are you using? And they're like, oh, I'm using CeraVe or Aquaphor. And you never say, oh no, you can't use that. You just go, how is that working for you? You
Mhm.
know, and they're going to be honest with you. Generally, it's not doing anything because it's just a barrier cream.
Right.
And at that point, you can be like, hey, maybe you would want to try this and give a better recommendation of something that would be good for them.
And in return, I've found many times that when you can help educate your clients on like lanolin and mineral oil and all of those different barriers that don't soak in, the molecules are too large. Therefore, they can actually take their product to the doctor and say, my pedicure has kind of recommended this. What are your thoughts? The doctors don't even know what we have available in this industry.
And we
And
have
then
better stuff than they do as far as skincare goes.
yeah, absolutely. And so sometimes it's our job to educate them, which the great thing is then you can connect your pedicurist with your podiatrist or your oncologist and get a very good line going.
I have a lot of really good working relationships with dermatologists and podiatrists and doctors nearby, and I think it's super important to have those good relationships with healthcare providers nearby because you want them to trust you as much as you want your clients to trust you. And if they see that what you're doing is good,
Mhm.
you're going to have a great referral program back and forth. Even
Yes,
for simple things like it's like, this doesn't look quite right. Can you go get this checked out? I have a great guy, you
yes,
know? And I think that's important, even with just little like moles and things like that. Like, you
yeah,
really want them to go get that stuff checked out. We're the
yeah.
ones that notice it first.
And every time I've made a consultation with a doctor and I told them what my vision was and what I was looking for wasn't for me, but it was for the education for my team. Sometimes I've been able to bring them in and do education in my salon and they've never charged it, or they do one-on-one consultation and they've never charged me for it. So just reach out for them. If they're going to make you pay for the appointment, it might be worth it if they're top of the line and you know that that's the education that you need.
Right.
However, I've never found that any of them have ever wanted to charge me for their time on that. They believe in sharing that education and getting you, your best knowledge as well.
I do see a question here. What lotion is good for someone with dermal toxicity? And, you know, one thing I would touch on with that is like when you're seeing somebody with like radiation burns, I think we've all seen radiation burns. Calendula oil is really good for that. That's from the marigold, which was really shocking to me because I always hated the marigold. I thought it was such an ugly little flower. Um, but when I learned this, I was like, wow, it actually has a really beautiful purpose. So, what I learned in that class is somebody who, oftentimes we're one of the first to find out our guests are going through these cancer treatments. And if you can get them going on calendula oil on their skin before that radiation treatment starts, it will really help with that burning and that peeling of the skin, but it will also really help heal that,
Mhm.
which I think is important to know.
Absolutely. I'm with you on the whole marigold. I use them because we get deer that eat the flowers and they won't eat the marigolds. And that's the only ugly flower that I can keep that they won't eat. So it's nice to know that I can look at them in a different way and see a better purpose.
Right. Deer don't even like them.
Yeah, that's so true. Oh, wonderful. So thank you guys for joining in. And obviously, it's almost been an hour already, Nellie.
Oh,
And
wow.
so as you guys watch this on replay, please ask more questions. You might need to tag us in it so that, it just doesn't get lost in the notifications. But absolutely, I mean, the education that you've shared in this tech talk is more than what a lot of us have had in any class that we've taken.
Well, good. I'm happy to help.
So speaking of classes, how can people sign up to be a part of your workshops?
So I haven't posted the dates yet. I am really bad at picking dates. The first time I picked the dates, it was the NCAA something. I think that's basketball. The second time I picked it, it was actually this weekend, which was Easter. So I really have to find new dates for it. It's supposed to be probably September or October, but I have to try to plan that in between my cruise and the Foot Forward Summit and the Seattle trips. I gotta find somewhere for it, but it will be posted on my Facebook page when it does come about from Eventbrite. So, and we're gonna bring in some other special educators with that 3 days. So it's not just 3 days of having to listen to me constantly, which is a lot to take in. But yeah, what I really want people to walk away with is learning how to do a spa service. I'm not here to teach you necessarily like the whole diabetic geriatric pedicure thing. I want to show you beautiful techniques that are going to set you apart. And part of that is showing people how I've taken like the Roman bathing rituals and ancient Indian wedding rituals and things like that and turned them into pedicure services. So that's more what I'm teaching. Ancient
Yeah.
rituals that have been modified to something modern and useful in our industry. So something really fun. It's really cool stuff.
I love it. And so obviously we'll post the link to your Facebook page in here. I'm assuming it's like a business page, or do you do everything through your personal?
Personal and Instagram. Yeah, Instagram's at Get Nailed by Nellie, Nellie.
Okay. Yep.
So I post everything through those channels for sure.
Yeah. Wonderful. Oh my gosh. So out of all the shows that you go to, international or within the States, which one's just your favorite that every year you just go, I have to go to that show?
I love Orlando.
Yeah.
Chicago used to be my favorite because Chicago nightlife and the parties they used to throw there were like the best. But ever since they moved the Nails Next Top Nail Artist to Orlando and that tech party, that has become my absolute favorite one. And I love the energy there. I love how big it is. There's so much for nails. There's so many classes. That's my favorite because I do enjoy the hair side too. If I'm going to put all that time doing my hair up into a mohawk, I need a hair section to walk through so some people can really appreciate what was done there. And my favorite show as far as just nails go would probably be the Gatlinburg show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing I love about the Gatlinburg Smokies show is everyone is stuck in that small town. And so no matter where you go, whatever bar, restaurant, store you end up at, you're there with all your nail tech friends. and I don't experience that at any other show. You know, so it really is kind of the meeting place. Um, you know, I think me and the South don't always get along, but that show, the bars there are just, they're crazy. Nail techs, you never thought they were nuts until you see them in Gatlinburg.
It brings out the other side. So it's not the Vegas shows, it's the Gatlinburg
It's
show.
the Gatlinburg show, yes. The drinks are cheap and they certainly take advantage of them.
I love it. It's like the biggest event that they get every year is the nail tech retreat.
Right. I mean, it's the Gatlinburg show is fun. I would highly recommend that event, and it's small, it's quaint, it's just nails, and as far as a just nail show goes, I think it's the biggest in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. You know, there are a lot of other small towns like in Utah that we were at last year
Yeah.
that are definitely making an impact because a lot of the nail techs are not able to travel or we have to go so far, spend the flight, spend the motel, plus pay to get in the show, you know, and all of that. And so I appreciate the small ones and they've become kind of my favorite because I have been to quite a few of the big shows. And I get a little overwhelmed. I'm a little opposite. I get too many people around me, too much noise, too much stuff. I appreciate it and I love going, but I like the small ones.
You know, the Utah one for me was it was fun, but it was troubling because do you know how hard it is to find a drink there? Like
Yeah,
a
it was.
drink?
Yes, even water.
Right. Like I went to the restaurant and you can only get one shot of alcohol in your drink. Well, that ain't getting me anywhere.
That's right. They
Yeah.
do have a, I forget their law, 3-2 or something law.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like, I need a Starbucks nearby. Like,
yeah. At least
I
you can get double shots in your Starbucks.
right.
Oh, I love it. Well, Nellie, I look forward to continuing this process. I hope to be able to interview you again, maybe in a year from now, and see, you know, what's new, what are you up to, and all of that.
We can always have a daily morning interview.
Well, we got to watch out what you say because our members are pretty strong in that and they would enforce that. I'm pretty sure that already are getting comments of like, what? What time?
Get it ready with Nelly.
Right. A daily dose of Nelly. That's what we'll call it, actually. Oh my goodness. Nellie, I can't thank you enough for taking your time this morning and sharing such valuable and great knowledge with us and hopefully inspiring more people to, like what you said, up it up.
Yes.
You know, up the price, up the game, up your services. And you're going to realize that the clients are going to respect you a lot more when you do that too.
And you just gotta have fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Until Frank, wherever Frank went, that we said goodbye. Oh,
sleeping
oh,
pillow.
cute. Yeah. All right. So we'll get all the links put into the comments here where you guys can follow Nelly if you're not already stalking him through all of his social medias. And I just thank you again for your time this morning. Have a fabulous day. And thank you for all of your knowledge and just being so kind and genuine.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun. I'm very happy that you woke me up this morning so now I can get going for the rest of the day too. And this was a great way to start it. It's very feels very positive and I really do hope that you guys all took something away from this. It's always fun to share a little bit of knowledge here and there when I can.
Yeah. And then those of you that see Nelly at the show, quit just trying to take a picture of him in a roundabout way. Just walk up and just ask him to take a picture. Get his
I
good stuff.
love posing for pictures. There's nothing I love more than posing for a picture. Just let me pick my own right angle. Cause like the secret pictures where I'm like, that's
Yeah.
not cute. Like I don't want to see that posted on the internet. Like let me smile and look pretty for it.
Yes, likewise. If not, we're going to start doing it back to you guys.
Yes.
All right. Well, Nelly, have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, let me turn it off. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a good day. as always, check the events section of Tech Talk Worldwide, and that's where you will see all of the upcoming Tech Talk lives. Sometimes I get them posted just a few days before because it's just how it goes, but they're always in the event section. If you click going, it should translate the time to your local time zone, as well as send you a reminder a day before and an hour before. But if you don't click the going, it doesn't send you the reminders. So anyways, thanks for joining in. Thanks for making Tech Talk Worldwide your #1 Facebook group. We appreciate it so much.